Good morning, everyone. This is topic about entertainment. Let's see. Entertainment is the form of our activity that holds attention and interest of all audiences. Or gives pleasure and delight. It can be idea or task, but is more likely to one of the activities or events that have over 1,000 years, especially purpose of keeping attendance and audience attention. Although people's attention is held with different things because individuals have different preferences. Entertainment most recognized forms are recognition and familiar. Storytelling, music, drama, and dance is and the different kinds of performance of English is all cultures were supported in royal courts, developed into the specific forms because to all available to all citizens to the process and entertainment that records sells records of the entertainment products. Entertainment evolves that and can be adapted suited in a sign from the individual who chooses a private entertainment from a now numerous array of the pre-recorded products to a function of adapted to any sizes of or type party with a procedure of music and dance. Performances are intended for thousands for event audience. Forms of entertainment is the dance, gaming, television, radio, music, and filmmaking. Games are also used for entertainment, sometimes purely entertainment for sometimes for achieve. Can be played alone in teams or online by amateurs and professionals. Players could have an audience of non-players such as people are entertained by watching a chess championship. On the other hand, the chess is playing for entertainment for children. Often, the children of the who played who's the part of the audience and who is a player. Music is the complement of the kinds of entertainment for performance. For example, entrance for storytelling. It is suitable for dance, and usually incorporated dramatic film or theater productions. Film is are the major form of the films. All through the films, such as preparatory forces of the documentary film. For example, aims of to create, record, or inform all to the two forces of them work together. The medium was a global business from the beginning. The Lumiere brothers was the first to send cameraman to throughout the world, then instructing to film them to the film of the interest of the public. In 1908, Pafte was launched and distributed the newsreels and by World War One. Films are made in mass entertainment of the entertainment. The Americans have first illusion of the created images. These film companies are such as Walt Disney Studios, it is Walt Disney Pictures and 20th Century Fox and Pixar and Blue Sky Studios. Paramount Pictures, Warner Brothers, NBC Universal, Sony Pictures, and etc. The theater performances on the stage of the musical and by the leading musicians or actors of computations. For example, Delphi episodes. Music is the supporting component entertainment. Many kinds of entertainment for the performances. For example, a chance for the storytelling. It is it's visible for dance and opera or the musical theaters. How technology is used in entertainment. Before technology, entertainment is simple, left in the imagination, made the people make it believe. They started in CGI in 1968. In 1970, first a short film in the data tablet. George Lucas is the created the Star Wars film. it will be established the Lucasfilm. The program called Genesis Effect in 1980. Director Stephen Hillenburg used CGI to create dinosaurs in Jurassic Park. In 1995, it is the first animated film in CGI is the Toy Story. Technology in video games. Starting off in 2D like Super Mario Bros. In 1994, Sony is releasing PlayStation. The MPPA was claimed in 2012. How technology is developed for entertainment. Entertainment is the discipline used for manufacture to create complements or make possible entertaining experience. Because entertainment is so bored, and because of the entertainment is the type of the sources in this theater. Traditionally, entertainment technology is diverted from the stagecraft and also the animated, and that's all. Thanks for listening at IT Era.
Communication. That is the next point of our conversation for global digital development. It is undoubtedly a very important part of our lives, being able to share and exchange information between two or more parties. As you might think, communication has not always been efficient nor convenient. The early forms of communication logistically comprises of us humans and or animals. Though other material means were also used to communicate with each other, such as smoke signals, colored and patterned flags, and Morse code through the reflection of light, which unfortunately limited themselves to the distance the messages can be sent. The invention of paper eventually brought forth the new medium of message sending, where characters can be written onto it and be sent via humans or animals. This overcame the challenge of distance, however, discovered a new challenge, time, or time taken rather. Through the years, improvements have been made on the efficiency and convenience of letter sending, still paper being commonly used as the medium of message, and technology in other aspects have been developed to send these letters, namely the operations of post offices and shipping of bulk amounts of packages and written letters via air or sea. However, the challenge of time has still yet to be overcome. And this is where electronic communication comes in. It is the ability to communicate purely by electronic means, thus eliminating the need for physical materials and the need of delivery by posting or shipping. Therefore, as long as the target audience utilizes the same technology, overcoming the challenge of time taken for a message to be delivered can be done in Electronic communication in the early parts mainly experimented on the use of radio waves. This brought forth the invention of a radio speaker and television. A radio speaker mainly tapping into the sense of hearing, a television tapping into the sense of hearing and sight, using imagery to deliver a message. With all, its development did not stop there, and instant messaging has been made. This webs out to short message service, the delivery of textual message using cellular airwaves. Multimedia messaging service, delivery of messages with multimedia content, and electronic mail, delivering messages from one specific address to another. From 1967, the internet has been introduced, in which has been and still being developed, and thus bringing forth the World Wide Web and the creation and use of the forums. The World Wide Web, WW, no dot, funny joke. Commonly misconstrued as the internet is a collection of resources from multiple users that is uploaded onto the internet. Although web pages are not as permanent as traditional media like paper, they can be archived and be accessed later. The forums. The forums is an open discussion type of messaging, similar to social networking. The forums are conversations that can go indefinitely, possibly involving large numbers of people, and each forum usually circling around one specific topic. It runs similar to the comment section in social media. But how has this been affecting the world? How is it being used globally? Globally? Ooh, keyword.
Cool.
In more developed countries, namely the US, Singapore, and Japan, they practice or take advantage of e-government. This refers to the use of internet and its supporting technology as a platform for exchanging information, providing services, and transacting with citizens, businesses, and other arms of the government. This provides the opportunity to increase citizen access to the government and increase citizen participation in democracy. In Singapore, every citizen and long-term resident is issued a National Registration Identity Card, NRIC, or commonly just referred to an IC. It is used nationally as a person's identification document. It is capable of accessing official records such as their particulars, home addresses, employment or schooling status and their respective records, and criminal records, if any. You guys better not.
Don't do it.
Another way the exchange of information through electronic means is being used is in e-health, the integration of the internet and its technology into healthcare. An obvious example of how this is used is by making knowledge bases of medicine and personal electronic records accessible to consumers over the internet. E-health opens new avenues for patient-centered medicine and enables evidence-based patient choice. And thus on to the next topic.
The next topic for global digital development is cloud computing. Now, data and information is being processed almost every day in and out of business organization. But one way to store data now without the use of an internal hard drive or SD card is through the cloud. What is the cloud? A generic definition is to think of is cloud is a huge space and is available online for one's storage needs. To be specific, cloud can be thought of as a collection of data centers. Data centers are a place where you store your data. Basically, cloud is an online hard drive you can access whenever you have internet. These data centers are already existing before, so what did cloud do differently? Cloud made sure that you are able to orchestrate your various functionings, applications, managing your resources properly by combining all these data centers together through a network and then giving you the control to use these resources and to manage them properly. To make it even more simpler, there was a group of people or organizations that basically went ahead and bought these servers, storage capacities, and computer services and had them run in their own channel network. These cloud service providers are the ones taking care of the maintenance, security, and such of your data. Before cloud, a business would have its own data center and pay for more because of the cost of these data centers and the maintenance it takes. Now, what is cloud computing? We now know what is cloud and what is cloud computing. To meet ever-changing business needs, organizations need to scale up their IT infrastructure such as hardware, software, and services. However, with on-premises IT infrastructure, meaning the IT department is within the company grounds, the scaling process could be slow and costly, thus making organizations frequently unable to achieve optimization of their IT infrastructure. Cloud computing provides computing over the internet. Cloud computing service consists of highly optimized virtual data centers. These data centers provide various software, hardware, and various information resources for use when needed. Organizations can simply connect to the cloud and use the available resources on a pay-per-use basis. This helps companies avoid capital expenditure on additional on-premises infrastructure resources and instantly scale up or scale down according to business requirements. Before, in the traditional way, they have to upgrade their on-premise IT infrastructure, which can take time because they need to upgrade the hardware and cost lots of money, and they need to maintain it frequently. Even though they're not using it, they have to pay for the maintenance. But with cloud, when you use it, you pay for what you're using and when you're using it. That's it. If you're not using it, then you don't have to pay for it. It's in the cloud. So yeah, 3 types of cloud service deployment. First one is private deployment model. For one organization only, it's on a private network and is highly secure. This is for one organization only. The cloud system that's made for one organization. The data within the organization stays within it. Public deployment model, offered by the cloud service provider, offers the highest level of efficiency and shared resources. This is offered by cloud service providers such as Microsoft and Google, and it is the web apps we use in their service provider, like Google Docs, for example. Hybrid deployment model, combination of private and public deployment models. In a hybrid cloud, specific resources are run or used in a public cloud, and others are run or used on premises in a private cloud. This provides increased efficiency. So when you need data to stay within the company and you need to process that, you need to use a private cloud. But when you need to collaborate with other companies, use a public cloud, thus providing an increase in productivity overall. Three core cloud computing models. First one is SaaS, or software as a service. Easiest way to cloud compute, and is where off-the-shelf applications are accessed over the internet. Examples are Google Docs and Microsoft OneDrive. These two are basically your online Microsoft Office that you can access whenever you have internet. You don't have to pay for it, you can access it. Advantages of SaaS are free or paid by subscription, accessible from any computer that is connected to the internet, facilitates collaborative work. The disadvantage of SaaS is that it needs the internet to run. If you don't have internet, you can't open it. And it depends on the internet. Like if your internet is slow, then the SaaS will be slow. Platform as a service provides user with an environment and a set of tools that allows users to create their own online applications. Examples are Google App Engine and Microsoft Azure. Google App Engine and Microsoft Azure, these two are just basically online IDE compilers of codes. They're like an online Visual Studio or online Dev C++. Fast advantages, rapid deployment of applications at low cost. Such applications may be used privately around the business or made available publicly. Disadvantage of fast is that it limits to the language of the developer that are using it. For example, Google has their own language and Microsoft has their own. You use whatever language is provided by your service provider, and you cannot transfer an app you made from Google App Engine to Microsoft Azure. It's vendor locked. Infrastructure as a service, or IaaS, allows a business to run whatever applications it requires on supplier's cloud hardware. This means existing applications can be migrated to a company data center to reduce IT costs. The fundamental unit of cloud infrastructure is a server. Today, servers can also be physical or virtual. Physical servers are discrete individual computers. In contrast, sole-term virtual servers are instances or software-controlled slices of real physical servers but are shared amongst end users via a process called virtualization. Examples of IaaS models are Amazon Web Services and Google Compute Engine, where you can buy or choose within a variety of virtual server instances. Thank you for watching. On to the next presenter.
Why do we need computer simulations? Computer simulations are used to study the dynamic behavior of objects or systems in response to conditions that is not easy or safely applied in real life. For example, a nuclear blast can be described by a mathematical model that incorporates such variables as heat, velocity, and radioactive emissions. What is Schelling's segregation model? In 1971, the American economist Thomas Schelling created an agent-based model that might help explain why segregation is so difficult to combat. His model of segregation showed that even when individuals or agents didn't mind being surrounded or living by agents of different race, they would still choose to segregate themselves from others over time. Although the model is quite simple, it gives fascinating look at how individuals might self-segregate, even when they have no explicit desire to do so. Schelling's model will now be explained with some minor changes. Suppose there are two types of agents, X and O. The two types of agents might represent different races, ethnicity, economic status, etc. Two populations of two agent types are initially placed into random locations of neighborhood represented by a grid. After placing all the agents in the grid, each cell is either occupied by an agent or is empty as shown in the picture. Now, we must determine if each agent is satisfied with its current location. A satisfied agent is one that is surrounded by at least T% of agents that are like itself. This threshold T is one that will apply to all agents in the model, even though in reality, everyone might have a different threshold they are satisfied with. Note that the higher the threshold, the higher the likelihood the agents will not be satisfied with their current location. The picture above shows that a satisfied agent because 50% of X's neighbors are also X. The next is X is not satisfied because only 25% of its neighbors are X. Notice that in this example, empty cells are not counted when calculating similarities. When an agent is not satisfied, it can be moved to any vacant location in the grid. Any algorithm can be used to choose this new location. For example, a randomly selected cell may be chosen, or the agent could move to the nearest available location. In the image below, all dissatisfied agents have an asterisk next to them. The image on the right shows the new configurations after all dissatisfied agents have been moved to unoccupied cells at random. Note that the new configurations may cause some agents which were previously satisfied to become dissatisfied.
Increase quality of life by ensuring product availability. This liberalization helped the people of country to remove their life quality by lowering price of import and keeping price of substitute for imported goods low. Most developing countries reap benefit in this issue as the per capita income at the countries increase dramatically. This is even more applicable for South Korea, Malaysia, Thailand, India, Vietnam, etc. These countries have opened their economics in recent years and have experienced faster growth and more poverty reduction. Again, imported products that might be especially important for the poor people of the country include basic foods, pharmaceuticals, and other medicals or basic health products, and used clothing. The poor may also be benefit significantly from removal of export taxes or prohibitives.
Measurement and data. The indicators for human development and globalization are complex as both multidimensional and to some degree qualitative. Instead of creating new indices for measuring globalization and human development, for the purpose of this paper, already constructed indices are used. 10 samples of indicators economic freedom are business, trade, fiscal, government, monetary, investment, financial sector, property rights, corruption, and labor. Business, the ability to create and operate and close an enterprise quickly. Trade, a composite measure of the absence of tariff and non-tariff barriers that affects impacts and exports of goods and services. Fiscal, a measure of a burden of government from the revenue side. Government. Government includes all government expenditures as the percentage of GDP, or gross domestic product. Monetary. This indicator combines a measurement of price stability with an assessment of price control. Investment. An assessment of the free flow of capital, especially foreign capital. Financial sector. The relative openness of each country's banking and financial system government. Property rights. An assessment of laws that permits property rights. Corruption. Based on quantitative data, the assess of perception of corruption in the business environment. Labor. It's a composite measure of the ability of workers and business to interact without restriction by the state.
All 10 factors are equally weighted and are graded using a scale from 0 to 100, where 100 represent the maximum freedom. The advantage of EFI is inclusion-wide range of variables related to economic liberalization and globalization. In addition to the coverage, the index is available for a large group of countries. For the year 2006, 167 countries are rated according to the above economic liberalization. Countries receiving a source between 80 to 100 are considered free countries. Scoring between 17 to 79.9 are ranked most freely countries, with score of 60 to 69.9 are ranked moderately free countries, with score of 50 to 59.9 are considered most unfree, and economies that obtain score of 0 to 49.9 are considered repressed. The ranking according to EFI indicates that Hong Kong is the freest country, scores of 90.2, and North Korea with scores of 5.9 is the most repressed. As you can see on the chart, the following page shows most of the world's freest economies are in North America and Europe, while most of the world's economically repressed countries are in Africa and Middle East. Asia has a mixture of free and unfree economies. As a whole, Sub-Saharan Africa is economically unfree and by the poorest area in the world.
Next topic is Human Development Index. Usually, people are expected to live a long and healthy life, to be educated, and to have access to resources needed for a decent standard of living. Human Development Index, constructed as a measure of human development, consists of three components: longevity, knowledge, and decent standard living, life expectancy at birth, education or literacy rate are the proxy of longevity and knowledge. Situation of a country. For child mortality rate and child immunization rates are the signs of a healthy life, leading into decent standard of living. GNP per capita is the prime indicator. Thus, combined HDI of the South Asian countries is shown here in the table. It has been observed from the table that the HDI value of the South Asian countries have been consistently increasing over the last decade. Through the increasing tendency is low, and the growth rate of HDI values is not increasing. Among the countries, Sri Lanka has the most attractive HDI values, and the increasing trend is also promising. The second best value is for India, followed by Pakistan and Nepal. Unfortunately, the scenario of Bangladesh is at the lowest position through the HDI and is still increasing trend. Thus, in care at health sector, globalization paved the way towards different NGOs to act as a catalyst in the health sector of the developing countries. In general, in Bangladesh in particular, to play a positive role and contribute in the development of the same. Free flow of vaccines for child immunizations is also the outcome of globalization, which was reduce the child mortality rate. Negative impact on agriculture. Most of the developing countries are still largely dependent of agriculture. Undeveloped countries are transitioning from industrial to information era. Most of the developing countries are still entering into industrialization. Most part of their GDP still comes from agricultural sector. A bumper production of crops usually results in a hike or GDP or vice versa. On the issue of domestic support, developing countries' farmers subsidy from government in different forms. Usually, fertilizers and electricity are provided of subsided rate. Capital is provided under simple condition and at lower interest rates. On the issue of aggregate measurements commitments or simply AMS, reduction commitments the member countries of WTO are committed to reduce. Domestic support that encourages domestic support and is therefore considered to distort potential trade flows. Though developing country members with no AMS will be exempt for reductions and the overall cut in trade distorting domestic support. It is not sure how long this will continue.
The world is flat. Don't take it literally because we all know that Earth is not flat. We are going to talk about here is the flatteners. Flatteners allows us to see and think of the world as a single flat plane. But before that, we will talk about history first. 3 eras of globalization. First era is globalization 1.0. In globalization 1.0, we globalized through our country. With that, the world shrunk in the size from large to a size medium. Next globalization is globalization 2.0. In this era, we are globalizing through our company and shrunk the world even further from size medium to a size small. Now the next globalization is globalization 3.0. This happens around 2000s until the present now. In this era, we are globalizing through small groups and individuals. Truly made the world shrunk from a size small to a size tiny and flattering the playing field at the same time. What? Now what happens in 11/9/89? In November 9, 1989, Berlin Wall came down. And after about 5 months, Windows operating system 3.0 shift, we suddenly had a single graphical user interface with universal application. What? So, yeah. The Berlin Wall came down, the Windows came up. Simple as that. Now next is 8/9/95. Know what happened there? Then. So, in August 9, 1989, Netscape went public. What? You don't know Netscape? Well, as you can see, Netscape gave us the internet and internet browser. With the internet browser, internet came alive. OMG. Okay, now Netscape opens the transmission protocols for the internet so that the companies won't dominate the internet. How amazing is that? Now, and also Netscape triggered the dot-com boom. You don't know the dot-com boom? The dot-com bubble? Well, that is the dot-com boom. Go back. Now with the dot-com boom, you are now free. You are now free to transmit data, word, voice, everything. Now that's why Netscape is a thing. And now in mid-1990s, all software that runs your business or school, or simply software that you are using to work in your business, are what you call workflow. And in mid-1990s, applications could not connect to applications. So sad. No, that was the big problem back then. So in late 1990s, suddenly applications can connect to applications. So now we are in the process of learning to horizontalize ourselves, learning to interact with the new platform horizontally rather than vertically. Vertical silos is the command and control, while the horizontal collaborations, which is connect to collaborations. Now that's what we are doing right now. Connect and to collaborate. So yeah, that is all. So mind-blowing.
The fundamental difference between left-wing and right-wing ideologies center around the rights of individual versus the power of the government. Left-wing beliefs are liberal in that they believe society is best served with an expanded role for the government. People on the right believe that the best outcome for a society is achieved when individual rights and civil liberties are paramount and the role, and especially the power of the government, is minimized. Examples of an expanded role for the government include entitlement programs such as Social Security and Medicare, Medicaid, universal health care, food stamps, free public education, and unemployment benefits, strong environmental laws, and other regulations on industries. Right-wing ideology would favor market-based solutions to the issues that these government programs aim to tackle. For example, encouraging a free marketplace for healthcare, driven by consumer choice to drive down costs, or privately held retirement accounts like 401k plans instead of government-guaranteed social security.
What is big data and machine learning? Things you need to know. Basics. What is big data? Big data, it's relatively simple. It refers to extra large amounts of data that require specializedly and solutions in order to be gathered, like analyze and implemented data. Business operation, machine learning algorithms are applied to increase efficiently insightfulness of this data. The big data changing the ways we work and live, even think. This kind of data requires a lot of power and specifically mechanism to handle it. 4 V's of big data. Number 1, volume, the amount of data. Number 2, velocity, the speed of processing data. Number 3, variety, the kinds of data you can collect and process. Number 4, veracity, quality and consistency of data. Everything is data, is one or another, but you have to understand what data is useful for. Your particularly business, operation, or purpose, and what can be discreated. Overall, there are 2 types of gathered data. Data submitted intentionally. This type of data includes like when the user creates an account of the website, subscribe to an email newsletter, or perform 2 payments, for example. Number 2, data as byproduct of other activity. All that can be processed and put in a certain context. There are generally interaction with an ad content or ads like YouTube videos. Where does the data came from? Collect straight from your resources, first party. Brought in by your partners, second party. Bought from the third party, yung data mining like data analytics are right in the very heart of big data. Solutions, data minings or stands for collecting data for various success or sources, while data analytics is making senses of sorted analyzed data can be uncover hidden patterns like incredible business value for every industry. Basics. What is machine learning or ML? The term machine learning can be defined as system of automated data processing and decision making algorithms designed to improve their operation according to the results of work. Basically means like learning on the go. In the realm of big data, machine learning is the used to keep up the ever-growing and ever-changing stream of data and deliver continuously evolving and valuable insights. Machine learning algorithms are used to be labeled, like define what it is or the incoming data and recognize patterns in it, which are subsequently translated into the valuable insights that can be further implemented business operation. After that, the algorithms also use that automate certain aspects of the decision making process. So we have very basic flow of data processing, like once comes in various sources. Machine learning algorithms label like statisticals look for patterns. Data is translated into unsensible insights. Insights are implemented into the business operation. And lastly, business and learning processes are automated. Machine learning algorithms can be applied to every element of big data operation, including data labeling, data analytics, descriptive, diagnostic, predictive, prescriptive, planning, lastly, scenario simulation. So the difference of big data and machine learning: big data analytics pulls from existing information to look for emergency patterns that can help shape our decision making processes. And the machine learning, on other hand, machine learning can learn from the existing data and provide the foundation required for a machine to teach itself. That was machine learning. So, the third pattern recognition, big data analytics can reveal some patterns through classification and sequence of analytics. So, the machine learning in pattern recognition, he helps that learn from the collected data. He helps the collected data from machine learning takes this concept in a one step that a big by using data. Data volume, big data as the Tages tends to be interested in large scale data where the problem is detailing with the large volume of data. So data volume, machine learning tends to be more interested in small data sets like where over earphones like that speaker fitting in the problem.
Good day. In this video, I will discuss the fifth question of our report. Integration with course content, control over learning, preparation time, assessment, time constraints, dissatisfaction with the work. Community issues that service learning can address. This is the list of the community issues that IT service learning can address. First, integration with course content. Faculty are concerned that incorporating service learning into the curriculum will diminish the academic content covered in course. Second, control over learning. A service learning experience takes the student outside the classroom and away from the instructor. The service learning experience is also less predictable. As a result, instructors are often concerned that they do not have as much control over learning that takes place outside the classroom. Third, preparation time. As research, teaching, and service demands and expectation continues to grow, and at many university and college, faculty are concerned about the time commitment involved in developing a service learning course. For example, matching students with community organization can be time-consuming. Assessment. Faculty are concerned about assessing student learning when much of the learning takes place outside the classroom and without the supervision of the instructor. Time constraints. Similar to faculty, students are also spread thin with commitment to school, work, and home. Many students may find that they don't have time to participate in a service learning project. So, the last question is employing IT in implementing service learning project. This course offers unique opportunities for students to learn from direct experience that link academics with the world at large. Experiential learning allows students to construct their own knowledge and themselves. The school's environment and various social, cultural, and political contexts. Service learning is part of experiential learning but differs from it in that it requires direct engagement of students in the work of specific agencies, organizations, or after-school programs. Service learning includes volunteering, time and making commitment to the recipients of service. Service learning promotes active learning and fosters a sense of civic responsibility.
Hindi, okay, tara na. Oh my God, ang dilim. Ina, sana wala akong makitang kamay dito.